Hello, welcome to this video. This video is designed to help anybody that is looking to migrate their Objective-C code to their Swift code. So in other words, I guess the question that you would be asking is, how on earth can I make my Objective-C app and convert it, safely to a modern Swift language app? Other than completely rewriting the whole app from scratch. So the first place I direct you is obviously Apple's documentation is pretty good on this. So if you go to using Swift with Cocoa and Objective-C, if you just Google search working Swift and Objective-C on Apple's developer forums, you'll find that they have pretty good documentation on this topic. Now, this video is there are some prerequisites, so that you should have a pretty good understanding of both programming languages, Swift and Objective-C. If you are familiar with one but not the other, then this is going to be hard for you to understand, and it's going to be a little difficult for you to migrate your code anyway when you're not familiar with both languages. So with that in mind, with understanding that you're familiar with Objective-C and Swift both, I'm going to go ahead and get started. One of the first things you have to do when you have an app, so this is my app in the background, it's just two windows of the same app. We'll get rid of this for now. So this right here is my app. It is written in Objective-C. Let me just center that and make that a little bigger. And my goal is to go ahead and convert this to Swift. I'm going to do this file by file, of course. Now, one of the first things that you have to do in order to do this is the setup prior to going ahead and starting to convert the files. And the setup actually is a lot easier than it seems, because when you read the documentation and you have all this reading to do, it can get a little overwhelming. But honestly, it's really as simple as you open your Objective-C app, and you will go ahead and open a different app so that I don't mess this one up. I'm just going to go ahead and open an example Objective-C app. That should do it. All right, here. So the example Objective-C app, and I'm looking to go ahead and that's a bad example. Sorry about that. Open a better Objective-C example app. iOS Objective-C. Let's do this to Diary, the Diary app. Or rather, the Tidbits app. Okay, so let's say this is the app that I wanted to convert. Now, this is just to show you the first part, or the setup part, and then we're going to move back to the app that I was currently working on. So the first part, the setup part, is really easy, and it's as simple as creating your first Swift file in the Objective-C app. So simply just right-click on the folder or go File New, or the multiple other ways, and click on iOS Source and make sure you pick the Swift file from iOS Source. Hit Next, name the file whatever you want to name it. If you're migrating, let's say, the entry cell class from Objective-C to the entry cell version of Swift, I'd name it something like entry cell Swift.Swift. So that when you're calling the classes and they're both in there, it's a little easier for you to differentiate, and then you can go back and rename it later. But for now, so when you hit create, this is the key part. So this is the setup. Xcode does it for you. It creates a file that's it's called a bridging header file, and also another file in the background, which is whatever your app's name is. In this case, is Tidbits. -swift.h file. So we'll talk about that really quick. When this pop-up comes up, you want to hit yes. Just read through this message really quick. It says, adding this file to your app's name will create a mixed Swift and Objective-C target. Okay, what does that mean? So let's just read the next line. Would you like Xcode to automatically configure the bridging header, which is this file that it's going to create, to enable classes to be accessed by both languages? Well, heck yeah, of course. So essentially what it's saying is it's going to go ahead and create a file in which is going to allow these Objective-C classes and the Swift classes that you're about to create to be able to talk to each other. That seems like exactly what we want to do. So I'm going to hit yes, and notice here that two things happen. One, the Swift file that I just created, of course, that gets created, and a bridging header file gets created. So it'll be your app's name, and then bridging-header.h. Okay, so let me just go ahead and move this really quick next to the class that I'm going to work on, and it's just down here. Okay, cool. So now that we know that, that's the setup part. It's that easy, and then you can start working on it. To talk about what this bridging header file does, I'm going to close this app and move on back to the app that we were working on, so I can explain how this is actually used, because I actually don't want to make changes to it. But this initial setup, since I had already done it in my other app, I had to show you in this app, so not to get too confused. And sorry if this caused any confusion. All right, so far I hope we're clear on how to do the initial setup. Now once the bridging header file is created by Xcode, and in my case the Swift file was also created by Xcode, the first thing that you do, in my case, because I'm going to migrate all of my code over, is you go ahead and import all of the header files for your Objective-C classes into the bridging header file. What this does is it makes all of these classes, all of these Objective-C classes, it makes them available to your Swift classes so that you can use methods from those classes, etc., etc. Hopefully it's not too confusing, because it's really that simple, honestly, that you literally come in here, you have, this is blank, and you literally just start importing, like import, delegate.h, then import view controller.h. You don't have to import all of them. You can only import the ones that you want to use at that time. But because I'm going to migrate my entire app over, I imported every single one. And as I get rid of them after converting them, I'll start deleting them from here. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, so the setup was two steps. One, create a Swift file and hit yes on the pop-up that Xcode asks, which looked like this guy right here, which created a bridging header file, which was this right here, in which file you went ahead and added the import statement for all the Objective-C header files that you have in your app. Once that was done, now let's start coding. So I'm going to go ahead and start from scratch and create a new class. What we'll do is we'll convert this. I already have converted these two classes, but we're going to go ahead and ignore that. We'll just look at, imagine that this is the first time I'm converting the color wheel class that I have, the color wheel.h and color wheel.m file, to a Swift class. So I'll walk through that with you guys. I just created a folder where I'm moving all my Swift files for now. And I'll just go ahead and create a new file in there. iOS source, Swift file. And I will go ahead and call my file color wheel swift.swift for now. And then I'll go ahead and create, and it adds it right there. Nice, cool. Now, when I'm converting, I like to work side by side so I can see the code. So I have a really cool tool in case you guys have not heard of it. It's called SizeUp. You can download it. What it allows you to do, I know the next version of Mac OS is going to allow you to do Windows side by side, but I already was doing this for a while. It allows you to put Windows side by side. I'll put the link to this in the YouTube video in case you want to use it before the Mac OS X update comes out and allows you to do it natively. So I'm going to move this to the left like that. and I'm going to move the Objective-C file. I'm going to double click it to open a new tab and then drag it out. And then move that to the right like this. So I can look at them side by side. Alright, now we can go ahead and get rid of this extra stuff that we don't need to look at for now. And look at only the code. Alright, cool. Actually, let me pull that out really quick so I can show you. So on the left side, what I have is my Swift file that I need to work on. On the right side, what I have is the Objective-C file. Alright, so